CBS presents this program in color.
From Philharmonic Hall in Lincoln Center, home of the world's greatest musical events, another program of New York Philharmonic Young People's Concerts, under the musical direction of Leonard Bernstein. This special program is being brought to you by Polaroid Corporation. And here is Leonard Bernstein.
My dear young friends, another year has rolled around. Boy, how fast it rolls. And here we are with another Young Performers program. As you know, we listen every year to dozens of talented young artists and pick the best of them to appear on this annual Young Performers program. We also take the occasion to give our young assistant conductors of the Philharmonic an opportunity to display their prowess, and they're always so gifted that it's my pleasure to surrender the podium to them for part of the program anyway. Today, I have the unusual honor of being able to present to you an authentic genius, a 14-year-old cellist who will play the cello concerto by the famous French composer Saint-Saëns, whom I know you all remember as having written The Carnival of the Animals. But Saint-Saëns oughtn't to be remembered only for that light piece of fluff. He was a far more gifted and serious composer than people usually give him credit for. This cello concerto we're going to hear is one of his most lyrical and satisfying works. And wait till you hear it played by Lawrence Foster, who at 14 is only slightly larger than his cello itself. You won't believe what you're seeing and hearing. Such strength and passion, such sureness and beauty of tone coming out of that little blonde boy from Chicago. He will be accompanied by the orchestra under the leadership of our very talented assistant conductor, Alois Springer, a young German who is already the associate conductor of the Luxembourg Radio TV Orchestra, from which he has taken a leave of absence to spend a year with us here at the Philharmonic as an assistant. And so, young Lawrence Foster will be in good, safe hands. Now let's all enjoy ourselves and listen to the Saint-Saëns Cello Concerto. The entire second portion of our program is going to be devoted to a rip-roaring piece by the great German composer Paul Hindemith, who died very recently. I'm sure many of you remember the program we did in his memory 4 years ago, just after he died. And this piece of his we're about to hear is probably Hindemith's most popular work. It's called Symphonic Metamorphoses on Themes of Carl Maria von Weber. That's a long-winded title and maybe needs some explanation. Carl Maria von Weber was a marvelous German composer of around Beethoven's period, and like Saint-Saëns, Weber is not usually thought of as a great composer, but I think he's vastly underrated. He was an elegant, aristocratic man, and his music is also full of elegance, to say nothing of smashing good tunes, brilliant wit, and in general lots of fun. Now along comes Hindemith, a century and a half later, takes some of those dazzling, elegant tunes and writes what he calls metamorphoses on them. Now that hard word, as most of you must know, means transformations. A metamorphosis, metamorphoses being plural, but a metamorphosis means a magical change, an alteration in appearance or form. And that's just exactly what Hindemith has done to Weber. He has taken some charming little four-hand piano pieces by Weber and transformed them into 4 symphonic movements. Not quite so elegant anymore, being now for a huge orchestra, but still very witty, brilliant, and full of fun. I guess that's the main thing they have in common, the Weber and the Hindemith pieces, that word fun. Now we're going to try an experiment, which will, I hope, also be fun. We're going to hear not only the Hindemith pieces, but the Weber originals as well, so that we can actually see the magic of these transformations in action. So before each movement of the Hindemith, we will first hear the Weber four-hand piano piece on which it is based, played by the 4 fine, strong hands of a duo piano team named Martin and Steven Vann. Now, these Vann boys, who come from Florida, are not only brothers, but identical twins, which is an ideal setup for a piano duo. They are 34 years old, taken both together. I leave it to you to figure out their individual ages. Here they are to play the Weber original of Hindemith's first metamorphosis, the Allegro in A minor. That's the Weber piece. Now here comes the same piece, metamorphosed by Hindemith into modern music. The tunes will be substantially the same, and much of the accompaniment as well, but man, what a difference. Because now the music will contain those special Hindemithian notes which would make Weber spin around in his grave if he could hear them. Notes that only 10 or 20 years ago used to be called dissonances, but which today have become as natural for us as talking on the telephone. Hindemith also adds his special variety of counterpoint in the style of Bach, as in this passage where the tune is in the woodwinds and adorned by Bachian running scales in the strings. You'll also hear some swinging, syncopated rhythms in the accompaniment that Weber couldn't have dreamed of, like these. Groovy. But Hindemith's main transformation is through development. By now you should really understand what that word means. Development is what makes this music truly symphonic and not just an orchestral arrangement of a piano piece. This is a real metamorphosis, and here it is. see, I told you it would be fun. And the second movement is even more fun, because this one is a rather large-scale treatment of a little Chinese march that Weber used in his incidental music to a play called Turandot. Now, this is the way it used to go before Hindemith got his hands on it. Jolly little thing, isn't it? But Hindemith makes that Chinese march even jollier and more exotic by going all out in his use of orchestration to create a spicy Chinese flavor. And this he does mainly by using an extra big percussion section that imitates those percussion sounds they make in Chinese operas. Marvelous sound. And at the climax of this exciting movement, in which the little march tune builds up and up like Ravel's Bolero, that percussion section really goes mad with the timpani banging out the tune, bum, 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 and the chimes hammering out the first four notes of it, dong, ding, dong, dong, over and over. It sounds like this. Terrific sound. By the way, this is the only one of the four metamorphoses in which Hindemith actually adds new melodic material of his own, a jazz fugue of all things, right in the middle of this Chinese march, and this one would really have old Weber spinning. Just listen to the theme of this fugue. That's the theme of the fugue. Now, what's that jazzy riff doing in a Chinese march? Well, the same as everything else in this piece. It adds to the fun. Now, just one more thing. To perform this movement, I have invited another of our assistant conductors, a very gifted young lady named Helen Quach. Now, Miss Quach was born in Saigon, South Vietnam, of Chinese parentage. But that's by no means the only reason I've asked her to conduct this Chinese piece. There is also the much better reason that she's a very talented conductress. Here is Miss Helen Quach. What a joy to listen to music as inventive as that is, and so well conducted. Now, as I told you, Hindemith wrote 4 of these metamorphoses, but we're going to have to skip number 3 owing to lack of time and jump directly to the 4th and final one, which is again a march, only not a Chinese one, but a German one this time, brilliant and rhythmic, with a middle strain that sounds for all the world like a real fine college football song. Here is Weber's original march in G minor, played by our twins, Martin and Steven Vann, and followed immediately by Hindemith's orchestral metamorphosis.
From Philharmonic Hall in Lincoln Center, the season's third New York Philharmonic Young People's Concert, under the musical direction of Leonard Bernstein, has presented young performers. Lawrence Foster, cellist, played Saint-Saëns Concerto in A minor under the baton of Alois Springer. Martin and Steven Vann played 3 piano pieces for 4 hands by Carl Maria von Weber. Helen Quach led the orchestra in the Turandot Scherzo, and Mr. Bernstein conducted the Allegro and March from Hindemith's Symphonic Metamorphosis. The next program in this series will be seen in 8 weeks on May 26th, when Mr. Bernstein will conduct a unique music test in presenting a quiz concert titled, How Musical Are You? This program was recorded in Philharmonic Hall and was produced and directed by Roger Englander. This special program has been brought to you by Polaroid Corporation. This program was recorded. On Sunday, May 26th, watch for the season's 4th New York Philharmonic Young People's Concert. On that date, Leonard Bernstein will present, for the first time, a quiz concert. Find out just how musical you are as you enjoy the concert and an entertaining quiz on Sunday, May 26th.